Alan Ford, we'll get you a couple of these G2G bars before you leave. As Alouettes alum, both you and Ben Cahoon. Now listen, when you hear that Antikembo contract, 5 years, $228 million, it's insane. And, you know, we're talking about the CFL here and where it's going. As a man that's negotiated some big-time contracts in your time, how do you feel about the dollars and cents of the CFL right now, moving forward?
Well, I think they're, especially without full number of fans in the stands, they're still at the same problem that when your expenditures are more than your revenues or right about the same as your revenues, you're going to have some issues. And some of the teams are able to weather that and other teams aren't. And this pandemic has put all the teams at risk. And I honestly believe that if they don't have some type of season, the CFL is going to start to fade out of the memory banks of people that have been great longtime fans of the CFL. So I think they've got to find a way, and hopefully the vaccine allows them to do that in 2021.
Well, those are the long-term fans, the young fans. I mean, I looked. Giannis Antetokounmpo has 8.3 million Instagram followers. I mean, the big leagues are just pulling away. And make no mistake, they're being hurt too. Right?
Yes.
You know that because they can't withstand playing without fans either, but it's further scrunching down the lower level leagues like the CFL and some of these other leagues.
Yeah, no question that, the dollars and cents of even the NHL and the NBA and NFL are so much greater. And so when a pandemic or something happens, like has happened this last year, it really affects the teams that are in the lower rung, not as much the teams that have tremendous television contracts and corporate sponsorships that are astronomical.
Well, viewers of this show are CFL fans, and they love this talk. Chris Bird in Toronto says strong local ownership of a CFL franchise is key to the success of the club. This is likely why the community-owned model works well. The owners have a vested interest. And while I believe that to be true, and we're talking about Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg, when the Argos were bought by MLSE and the Stampeders by Calgary Sports and Entertainment, the Red Blacks are owned by a conglomerate. I didn't think that was the worst thing either. I mean, I'd rather see family ownership, like the Brayleys, if it's done right, because those corporately owned teams I don't think are in danger of folding, Al. You know what I mean? Like, what did you think when those big conglomerates bought those teams?
Well, number one, I was happy that somebody was there to step up. And I think the ownership in Toronto has been very good for that specific reason.
That's what I mean, yeah.
They've been able to keep Toronto alive without every other day somebody writing a story or on television about, are the Argos folding next week? And that has happened to a number of teams. And I think there are some really good private owners currently in the league that are steady, that we know they're going to be there for years to come. And if you can't have the community model, that's the next best model.
Can I ask you, you worked for Bob Wettenhall with the Alouettes. I don't know if you ever had a chance to meet him. Why did everybody love him so much, and why were they the model franchise when his hands were on the wheel for 20 years?
I met Bob because he had come, he had bought the team when I was in Hamilton. And so I met him 2 or 3 times, and he is kind of, you would never think that that's Bob Wettenhall when you see him. I mean, he's very quiet. Unassuming, and was just there to make, he loved football, and he loved the city of Hamilton because he's originally from the Hamilton area. And for him, it was almost like a play toy, but he was doing it for all the right reasons. He was doing it because of the community of Hamilton, because of keeping football alive in that area, especially CFL football. But not only that, but amateur.
But you're
football.
talking about Bob Young.
I'm sorry, Bob Young, yeah.
Right, but Wettenhall, did you meet Bob Wettenhall?
Yes, I met
Bob
him.
Young I know enough about. I've met him.
Yeah.
Great guy. I never met Wettenhall. And the guys that work for him just loved him.
Yeah, I was there when I'm sorry I got that mixed up.
That's good. Both Bobs.
Yeah, both Bobs. And he would come in. He was just very, very similar to the other Bob in terms that he was in it for the right reasons. He loved it. Now, I think that the change in passed down, I'm not so sure his son has the same interest in
Yeah, notice I didn't ask about him. Yeah. I'm talking about Dad.
But yet they've been there and they've been supporting it, so hats off.
Yeah. Steve Mazurek watching, another Hall of Famer who says, such a class act. Could listen to this dude all day. Trust me, Maz, me too. I'm deliberating keeping Alan around for the next segment, but I know we can't. I got to get DuPont back in here. I'll take one. Can you answer 2 questions fast?
Good.
From viewer Tyler Wood. Was Al Ford responsible for bringing in Elgaard / Fairholm at slot back, one of the best tandems in CFL history? What do you remember about those guys coming to the green and white?
Well, I remember they were both draft picks of the Roughriders at the time, and I used to shudder. Ray Elgaard was kind of his own man, and
still is.
And he would walk into the front office when it was contract negotiation time or about it, and I could still hear him saying to Joe McDougall, the secretary, saying, "Is Big Al in?"
You could hear his voice.
I could hear his voice. I want to talk dollars and cents. I go, oh, God, I just wrecked my day.
Yep. I just talked to him the other day, by the way.
What a player.
What a player. What a beauty. Look at all the top Canadian awards he won. People forget about how great they were, which now my mind's just triggered an avalanche of questions. You were around when the Riders changed their logo from the old Safeway logo to what's like the NFL-style logo now. Really awesome. And I wanted to bring Normie Fong in here, and one day we will talk about that era. But, Alan, what was the unrest like in this province, the rectangle, when you went to change the logo of the iconic Saskatchewan Roughriders?
I think initially there was obviously a little panic, and what are we doing this for? And it was a lot of push from Phil Kershaw, and he had an idea what he thought the new logo should look like, and he had helped design that new stylized S, and it kind of just took the team from the 50s to the 90s.
It was awesome.
But there's still, it's hard to change people.
Oh, really?
If they're set in their ways, or you want to raise the ticket price $1, it's
especially here.
Yeah.
Jack in Alberta says, what does Alan believe the players' salary should be lowered to in order to see a healthier CFL?
Well, I don't know whether specifically there's you just look at what we're paying quarterbacks, and they're the key to your team, but are they going to play? I guess the real answer is, are they going to play someplace else? And you have to pay them $700,000 or $800,000, and you can't lower the salary. I mean, the minimum salary I think is $54 now, and that's pretty low.
Actually, I think it's 62.5. They did bump it, but yeah.
And so you can't get any off of the lower end. So no. I would think that if they're going to adjust the salaries, that maybe that's where you have to look.
Awesome. Alan, Merry Christmas. I still got more. Maybe we'll bring you back in the new year. Is that cool?
I've been around.
Tell some more stories? Okay. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And like I say, happy holidays to the Ford clan.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I think you got a kid my age. We're the same age. Your daughter, I think, is the same age.
I think she's a little older than you are.
Oh, even? Okay. We'll be back with Viewer Takeover next and Overtime, everybody. It's the RP Show, Facebook Live, Game Plus TV, and listen live for Suds Full Service Car Wash at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.